Hi, it's Emma Jane here, EJK Footballs, and today I'm going to talk to you about how I start my lessons. Starting a lesson the right way sets up the whole 53 minutes or however long your lessons are for optimum productivity and learning and a comfortable, safe environment for both yourself and the students. This is what I do to start my lessons. You may do something different, or you may be able to apply some of the same principles to your particular individualized context. If anything I say here today you're unsure of, make sure you check with your supervisor, your head teacher, on what I've said and see if it suits your particular school environment or not. What I do is I usually start the lesson with a meet and greet style. At the door, I like to go and give the kids a warm hello and use their name as they enter the classroom, because I want them to feel like this is a shared space, that they have a sense of belonging and that they add value to the classroom, and that it's going to be a positive experience for them when they come into my room. Once they come into the room, I tend to establish this particular routine, which I have the same routine every lesson. I don't care whether they think that we're going to be watching a video, a movie, or whether they think, it's party day, because it never is party day, is it? But they think every lesson's going to be party day. I don't care what they think we're doing. This is what I expect them to do. At the start of the year, I have it written up on the whiteboard in dot point form what I expect them to do, and I leave that up there for several weeks, for most of term one actually, until they get into the habit of this routine. When they come into the room, they have to have their book out. They have to have it open, so it's out and open. They have to have their pen at the ready. They have to have their phone on silent and placed in their bag, and they have to have their bag placed on the floor. After they've got themselves organised for the lesson, they have to place that bag on the floor. There are reasons for my routine, and the main one is that I want them focused and working as soon as possible after they come into the classroom, because, idle hands and all that. So it's going to minimise disruption and classroom management issues if they can be ready to work as soon as possible. Also, having the phone in the bag and then the bag on the floor means that even if they've put their phone on silent and they get the vibration, the message coming in, if it's on the floor, if their bag's on the floor, then it's going to minimize the temptation to look at the phone. Also, food. There are lots of temptations in that bag, snacks and all sorts of things. So I feel like if it's out of arm's reach, everybody's better off. This is a good time during the routine to give praise and notice those students who are doing the right thing, and just give them a quick, well done, or I appreciate how I can see that Tyson has done all the things that I asked. His book is out and open. He's ready to work. Good job. Things like that go a long way to build some positive rapport between you and the students. After everybody's settled, then I give them an overview of the lesson that we're about to do. I may or may not write that up on the whiteboard as well, depending on the class that I've got and what I want them to get through. I try and keep it to a minimum though, no more than sort of 3 things to get through in a lesson, because otherwise kids can sometimes feel overwhelmed and like they can't achieve what you want them to get done. So I keep that to a minimum. This also may be a time where I go back over what we've done last lesson and link it into what we're doing today. So it may just be a couple of short questions that I ask, or it may be a recap that I do myself, but it's good to get student involvement at that point to just check and make sure that they've retained that background knowledge that you embedded or cemented last lesson, so that they can bring that forward into this lesson and build on that with the new thing that they're going to do. By the end of this, it's time to really get into the main thrust of the lesson. Now, there are two sort of pathways that I use for this. And remember, I haven't actually marked the role yet. I don't do that anymore. I haven't marked the role at the start of the lesson for quite a few years now. And the reason for that is that I find it sets you up for delaying the lesson. It takes longer to mark it right at the very start, because the kids are coming in, they're rustle, they're getting all their stuff out and there's noise, they're distracted. So I wait until after I do the next step. So the next step depends on the 2 different scenarios. So pathway A is assuming that the kids have come in and done their routine easily, quickly, and they've quietened down and settled really nicely. So if they do that, then I go straight to pathway A. Pathway A is when I can get right into the main thrust of the lesson and do my explanatory stuff, my didactic stuff. That's when I can do the main teaching point of the lesson. Because I've got their attention, I may as well just use it and go with it right from the beginning. Pathway B is if the students are having difficulty settling that day. It can be for lots of reasons. It can be that they just had PE before. They came to you and they're all excited and hot and still talking about what they just did. It could be that you've got them straight after lunch. It could be something happened in period 1 that you don't know about. It could be anything. Every class gets unsettled from time to time, and if this is what's happening, then I do pathway B. So pathway B is when I give them some work straight away. So I always have something up my sleeve that they can do. It may be a series of questions, it may be a worksheet, it may be continuing on from some work from yesterday that they didn't quite, or the previous lesson that they didn't quite get to finish, but something that they have to do. So, it may even be notes to copy, old-fashioned notes to copy if they're really restless, just for a couple of minutes to get them settled and to make sure that you can get their attention when you really want their attention, that you have their 100% attention. After that point is when I mark the roll. So I only mark the roll once everybody's settled and they've got something to do. They're all doing something, they're occupied because of the reasons that I outlined earlier. One little tip that I would give is that towards the start of the lesson, whether it's right from it has to be right from the very beginning actually. I don't see any other way around this. You need to have a commanding presence right from the start of the lesson. You need to consider that whole area at the front of the classroom, wherever the students are facing towards, that you own that space and that you treat it almost like a stage. So you're going to use the whole space to deliver a commanding presence. You're going to use your body, you're going to use your posture, you're going to use your facial expression, you're going to use your voice as a tool to project. Not yelling at them, but you're going to project, especially towards the start of the lesson, to get their attention and to maintain their attention. You need to own that room, because if you don't own that room, somebody else will. This is where you start to exude your confidence. And even if you don't feel confident, that's where you've got to fake it till you make it, because you are the authority figure in the room and they're looking to you for direction. Even if it's just facilitation and not actual, tell me what to do. They're looking to you for direction. So make sure that you are in charge at the start. You can do some fun activities and more collaborative activities later on in the lesson, but I really feel that at the start of the lesson, you've got to have that commanding presence and give the kids direction and give them the boundaries, give them the routine so that they know what to expect. And that in turn will help them to feel safe and to be able to progress more quickly because they know what's expected. I hope that these tips have been of help to you. If you would like to make a comment, please feel free to do so below. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. For more tips like these, subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out. If you have any teacher friends or anyone else who you think might be interested in this video, share it on social media. See you next time.